Before I do start this video, make sure to use my TCG player affiliate down below if you're looking for any of these singles that I talk about today. Also, this channel is sponsored by Arcane Fortress. If you're looking for the best deck boxes around, make sure to use my link down below in the description to check them out. One other way you can support the channel is by becoming a patron. There are some great benefits of being a patron to the channel, such as giveaways, deck advice, and more when you do join. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on PubStomp MTG, and in this video today I'm going to discuss with you Eladamri. I'm not going to try to say that last name because I'm just going to get butchered in the comments anyways. Besides that point, this is an extremely powerful card, either in the 99, but as a commander itself, it's still pretty nutty. So let's read what it does. So for 1 and 2 green, it's a legendary creature, Elf Warrior, as a 3/3 body. It does have you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. You can pay green mana and tap it, and tap 2 untapped creatures you control. Reveal a card from your hand or the top of your library. If you reveal a creature card this way, put it onto the battlefield, activate only during your turn. So yeah, this commander is basically the definition of green. What I like about this ability is the fact that a lot of people, when they cast something like a big giant creature on the battlefield, it'll usually typically get countered by a blue player. But because you reveal a card and you put a creature onto the battlefield either from your hand or on top of your library, it won't get countered that way unless it's a stifle ability. Also, a very important thing to note is the fact that you can look at the top card of your library at any time and also cast creature spells from the top of them. So what you could easily do is, if you have a Llanowar Elves on top of your library, you could just play that so that you can play the next thing over and over again. This is definitely going to go into a little bit of an elf ball theme, not too much. They're really there only for mana dorks and ways that we could tap our creatures so that we could put bigger creatures on the battlefield. This commander really brings out the Timmy in me, and I'm excited to brew around it, and so let's waste no time, let's get started. Now I first want to talk about untappers for our commander. That way we could use our commander's ability as much as we can to kind of storm off in a way. An example of that would be Seeker of Skybreak. This has the ability to tap it to untap target creature, so we want to untap our commander so that we can play more and more stuff from our hand or from the top of our library. Similar cards to this, but probably not as effective, are Wirewood Symbiote and Fyndhorn Brownie. Surprised that this actually exists. I was researching for this commander and I looked at this and I'm like, wait, this is a real card and its creature type is Brownie. Besides that point, these are other ways where we could just untap our commander with a cost. Wirewood Symbiote, we have to return an elf we control to our hand, which of course if we do have an elf that does have a great ETB, we could take advantage of that even further by basically putting it back onto the battlefield. And of course with Fyndhorn Brownie, it's just another way we could pay into a cost to untap target creature like our commander. There are some temporary ways where we can protect our commander by using Legolas's Quick Reflexes. This does have Split Second and untap target creature until end of turn. It gains Hexproof for each, and whenever this creature becomes tapped, it deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature. So all in one, this is removal because we could just tap down our commander again. This is also protecting our commander, and if somebody has a flyer, we could just block with our commander too, or another creature. So this and all-in-one mana is going to be an incredible card in the deck too. There are also some great artifacts we could untap our commander with like Staff of Domination and 1000-Year Elixir. Staff of Domination is pretty much just a Swiss Army knife. It could untap itself, gain life, untap target creature, tap target creature, and draw a card, all at those specific costs. And if we do have 1000-Year Elixir out on the battlefield before our commander, when we cast our commander and put it on the battlefield, we could immediately tap him for value and untap him as well. So of course I went with a little untapping theme. I didn't go too crazy into it, but I wanted to add some synergy so that we could get multiple uses out of our commander out of one turn. Of course we do want to have other creatures to tap with our commander because we need 2 other creatures to make sure that we can get a big creature on the battlefield. So that's why I did want to go with a go wide strategy. Of course you can flood the board with a bunch of mana dorks, and that's great. There's other ways we could flood the board too. One example would be Tendershoot Dryad. This has a great floor of just putting a token on the battlefield every single turn, including your opponent's turns. And of course when you do get the City's Blessing, you get all your Saprolinks +2/+2, and it's really easy to ascend because all you need is 10 permanents on the battlefield. So this has an incredible floor, but let's talk about an incredible ceiling with Arasta of the Endless Web. It does have reach, and whenever our opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. So this doesn't have a really good floor. This depends on your opponent's casting instant and sorcery spells, but if you're facing an opponent that has a lot of Spellslinger themes, you're gonna make so much tokens. Another token generator to consider is the Master of the Wild Hunt. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. This is actually the main use out of it, just putting more bodies on the battlefield that we could tap with Eladamri. Of course, it does have that removal option by tapping it and tapping all wolves you control. But there is one token generator that could absolutely scale with the game with Mycoloth. It does have Devour 2, and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token for each 1/1 counter on Mycoloth. So let's just say hypothetically you have 5 creatures on the battlefield, then Mycoloth enters the battlefield and devours them all on the battlefield. It'll have 10 1/1 counters on it, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you'll make 10 1/1 green sapperling creature tokens. So yeah, this could be absolutely nuts for us. We could take advantage of this so much with our commander, and that's the big reason why I wanted to mention most of these cards, is the fact that you don't just need to rely on putting a bunch of elves on the battlefield. You could actually just put a bunch of tokens on the battlefield that you could tap to put a big creature on the battlefield. Speaking of which, let's focus on what kind of big creatures we could take advantage of so that we could basically put them on the battlefield for free and basically becoming uncounterable. So let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Of course, Craterhoof Behemoth. If you're making a lot of creature tokens, it just makes sense to put Craterhoof Behemoth in the deck. I know when everybody saw this commander, their immediate thoughts were like, duh, Craterhoof Behemoth. But what's nice about our commander is we could do it at instant speed on our turn. Let's just go ahead and say that you're swinging with a big giant army before Craterhoof is even on the battlefield. If nobody blocks your creatures because they're just 1/1s, what you can do in response is tap your commander and also tap 2 untapped creatures to put Craterhoof straight on the battlefield. And you'll want to make sure you do that before combat damage is dealt too. So that way you can surprise people even further, and they can't even counter the Craterhoof, and they don't even see it coming. Some other cards that are similar to Craterhoof are God Eternal Ronus and Enraised Forerunners, where they have that amazing ETB. God Eternal Ronus will double the power of each creature control, and they gain vigilance until end of turn. And with Enraised Forerunners, it does give your creatures +2/+2 and vigilance and trample until end of turn. I did also want to throw in some fun ETB creatures. For example, Kogla the Titan Ape is an excellent card. It could fight something on the battlefield and most likely kill it. And also when it does attack, it could destroy a target artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. So I love this because this is just going to be smashing things left and right on the battlefield. Another fun stompy creature would be Vaultborn Tyrant. I love this card so much. I've been playing this so much recently, especially in my Blue and Owen deck, but this is really good in here too, because whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, or whenever it itself enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and you draw a card. Also, when it does die, you make a token copy of it on the battlefield too, so this is going to be extreme value for us. But you absolutely know I couldn't resist adding some of my favorite dinosaurs. One of my other favorite ones is Galta's Stampede Tyrant. This does have the ETB. When it enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, so if you have a full grip of cards, you can just slam them all down on the battlefield. And if you have some way to give them haste, maybe like if you have a Concorded Crossroads on the battlefield, most likely you're going to be winning the game if you slam this on. Also, Galta itself is going to be a 12/12 on the battlefield where you could swing in with somebody. Everybody kind of forgets that, oh yeah, they also have a 12/12 after all those creatures enter the battlefield too. And the last card I do want to mention that you could put in your deck is Pathbreaker Ibex. This is going to be basically another version of a Craterhoof, but potentially even better depending on some scenarios. Whenever it does attack, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until in a turn where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. To me, this is just a repeatable way where we could just do an overrun effect constantly back and forth, especially if we have like a Galta Stampede Tyrant on the battlefield. Our creatures will get +12/+12 until in a turn. So this one, I would say it has a better floor, but Craterhoof Behemoth has a better ceiling. But I will say something very nice about this deck is the fact that it's pretty open-ended with your commander, and all you have to really do is play a bunch of big creatures that you want to play and a lot of token creatures that you could just cheat them in for free with. But with that said, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on Eladamri. This is going to be an extremely powerful mono green commander. In a weird way, it feels like it's part of a super cycle with like Yawgmoth, Thran Physician, and Urza Lord High Artificer, where they're extremely busted in their monocolor perspectives. Either way, I'm super excited for this commander. I do feel like it's going to be a very good mono green commander to come. Let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts and opinions about this commander? Also, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. With that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.